Hey, what's up, guys? I found what I think is one of the original people to have ever done the sugar diet or to have experimented on themselves with increasing sugar and then that upregulating their metabolism aggressively. And we're going to do a video review and talk about it. Let's dive in.
Hey, I just want to make a quick video about how I was able to raise my metabolism over the last year or so. What I mean is how I was able to eat about 3,500 calories per day without gaining body fat. And half that time I wasn't even exercising, or I mean I was biking a little bit for transportation, but like half that time I wasn't even lifting weights or whatever. And that might seem not that crazy, but a lot of people think that you would gain body fat or whatever at 3,500 calories.
Most men in America will gain fat at 3,500 calories. Our metabolisms used to be that fast. That used to be the RDA for food. You can look at this back 70, 80 years ago. But we have so aggressively suppressed our metabolism through excessive dieting and polyunsaturated fat intake, namely through seed oils, that our metabolisms don't run at that level anymore.
And maybe you can, but I did some things, in my opinion, which I'm going to share with you, which allow me to raise my metabolism easily, or safely, rather. So I'll get right into it. Over the last, I'm using this website called Chronometer, which I've been logging every day for the last 6 months. That's why I'm making this video, because I can get an average for the day. And I don't, it's not like I'm obsessive about it, but it's just kind of a self-experiment to see how my body reacts to certain intake and certain breakdown food. And yeah, and I didn't actually plan out how much I was going to eat each day. It just kind of whatever it was, I just logged it. So I'll get right to it. I averaged over the
This I thought was really funny. This video is made 11 years ago. So back in early 2014, you have to remember early iPhones. That was like Samsung Galaxy number 4 would have been out at that time. That's like it's 10 generations of phones away. People weren't regularly counting calories. Noom was an extremely new concept at the time.
last 6 months, 3,450 calories. 78% of my total intake was carbohydrate, so I was on a very high carb diet, but only 110 of those carbohydrates were starch. So that means I was eating about 530 grams of sugar per day for the past 6 months, which
530 grams of sugar each day for the past 6 months. Does that sound like a diet you might have heard of?
might make people think you get really fat, right? But I actually lost a couple of pounds doing that. Fiber was like 50 grams, but whatever. My fat was 6.6% of my diet, which is really low. I was eating 26 grams per day. Most of those 26 grams were saturated. My polyunsaturated was 3.5 grams on average, and my protein was 123 grams, so 14% of my diet.
So this guy actually is still eating a mixed macro set of foods. He's saying he's eating high sugar, very low fat, and that's a reasonable amount of protein. That's a good amount of protein. But I think he is going to detail that he's eating those things together. He's not splitting it out the way people do a sugar diet today.
Yeah, and the last 4 weeks though I did lower my intake just because I was kind of like not as hungry. It was kind of, but it was only by 200. So I was averaging the last 4 weeks 3,200 calories. Similar breakdown of macronutrients. Yeah. So hold on a sec. Oh yeah, and about a month ago I was still. Oh yeah, I weigh 142 pounds, and I am 5'4", 5'5" if I stand up really straight. I have some notes here because I.
Okay, this is a 5'5", 142-pound man that is putting away 3,500 calories a day. I know so many people that are much taller and much heavier that wish that they could do that.
Don't really make videos. So, what did I eat? Yes, I ate a lot of fruit, like a lot of bananas, a lot of dried fruit, dates, apricots, prunes, even and for my starch, I mostly had white rice or even bread. Last year I was gluten-free for 3 years, but I've been eating bread here and there, bread, pasta, whatever. My protein mostly came from cottage cheese and yogurt, low fat, and and I would eat maybe beef once a month or so, and I would try to keep my fat low.
So mainly dairy sources, which can actually be really good for you because that lowers your phosphate to calcium ratio, which is in the bioenergetic sphere or the Ray-Peat sphere, something that's really important. So he's massively upping his calcium and it'll be lowering his phosphate. Muscle meat, whilst it's fantastic, right, we eat it in excess and it actually has this real bad phosphate issue. It also means that the BCAA balance will be different and the way that the amino acids are spread across will be very different.
There's a point in January and February where I was eating like less than 20 grams of fat, but I would eat like a pound and a half of dates, which would put me at like 2,000 calories from dates alone. But yeah, so it wasn't always like this. I was a year ago.
A pound and a half of dates a day. That's amazing. And he's losing weight.
I think my metabolism was pretty shot. 5 years ago, I had a slight eating disorder, which is in a video I made a year ago. I talked about it. And that, along with a lot of distance running for 7 years, really made my metabolism pretty low. Like, I would put on body fat even while running 9-10 miles a day if I didn't watch what I ate. And sometimes, like, towards the end of the season, I would cut back my intake so I wouldn't lean out a little bit at the end of the season. But
I know so many people that tell that same story. They were healthy. They exercised a huge amount. They would have to restrict calories towards the end of a season to lean out. That puts you in a pretty bad state called red S, which is relative energy deficiency in sport. Or if you're not exercising, it's called a low energy availability state.
But anyway, I stopped running last year around this time, and I started eating whatever I want. Matt Stone has this approach to raise your metabolism called eat for heat, and that's what I did. I basically stuffed myself with everything, just low polyunsaturated fat. And I'll make another video about why I don't like that at all. But so here's a picture of me in August last year. You can see I was a bit of a fatty. I'll stand up now, by the way, just to show what I look like now. I'm not gonna like go crazy, but I'm relatively lean. I lift weights. about 3 times a week, mostly for my legs though. I do a lot of upper body weight training for my upper body. But anyway, what am I going? Oh yeah, so I was eating for heat and I got a little fat, and I think that helped me raise my total calorie intake because I don't like last year this time I was eating only about 2,500 because I did log here and there. I mean, I would flip flop depending on what time of season it was, but that was really low, and I was getting fat if I was eating like 3,000 calories a day. And I think what really helped was, besides eating a low fat and low starch, because I mean I think that's really important for people that want to slim down, is to eat lower fat, lower starch. It helps. At least it did for me. I felt good doing it too. But also like raise your intake really slowly, like 100 to 200 calories every week or two is a safer way to increase your metabolism without.
Yeah, totally agree. So if you use the Patchwork AI coach and you're in an LEA, the coach can sometimes give you a pretty aggressive recommendation, but generally we see if you suppress your metabolism through this kind of activity, you need to be raising your food intake primarily through carbohydrates whilst keeping your fat reasonably low for about 50 calories to 100 calories a week. To be fair, he's gone from 2,500 to 3,500. That's only 10 weeks of ramp up. That still makes me feel uncomfortable. If I moved my calories that fast, I would be in serious trouble. It is funny, I'll add, he did the Eat for Heat Matt Stone thing, which is Matt Stone moved into his bioenergetic Ray Peat inspired fear. He wrote this book called Eat for Heat. I've read it. It's actually really good. But the problem is that just like the Ray Peat followers, loads of people did Eat for Heat and they got really fat because it is basically eat food and get hot. Like make sure you're eating the foods that get you hot. Well, as it turns out, a pint of vanilla Haagen-Dazs at 7 p.m. at night will make you really hot. So a lot of people did that and they gained weight pretty aggressively.
Put on body fat. And I mean, some people have to put on body fat before they can raise their metabolism, especially if they're coming from a damaged state like I was. Although mine wasn't as bad as a lot of other people's. I had a really bad eating disorder, for example. Hold on, let's see what I got written down here.
I will say on this point, I'm coming around to the understanding as well that like really if you've upset your metabolism and you don't want it to take forever, like 5 to 10 years to heal it, you have to accept that there will be some weight gain. That doesn't mean throw caution to the wind and try and gain weight and try and eat as much as possible. But you have to appreciate that there will be some weight gain. Your cells in your body need to learn to go from fat storing and energy saving mode to being able to absolutely like burn through everything that's coming to them.
And I didn't track when I was doing the Eat for Heat thing. I was just kind of stuffing myself. So I couldn't eat like over 4,000 calories. I don't know, but I did get pretty chubby. The heaviest I ever was. I didn't even weigh myself because I was like, I didn't want to see how much I weighed. Let's see. So what were some signs of my metabolism going up? Well, one thing is I had a lot of energy. It could have been from the sugar that I ate, but I think it was because of metabolism. I believe sugar raises your metabolism too. What else? I was warm, especially in like January and February when I used to be freezing all the time. Like I wasn't always freezing. Like my hands and feet started warming up towards January because in October, November they were still cold a little bit. What else? My sleep was deeper. Like I know my metabolism tired because, like for example, the other day it was like 8 o'clock and I only eaten 2,000 calories and my stomach was like growling, which is probably normal for a lot of 23-year-old guys. But I know that last year at this time or 2 years ago at this time, I would be very happy with 2,000 calories. Like I wouldn't even feel hungry, and that's really low. And another thing I want to say about the diet I'm doing, like it is low fat, it's low starch, and I mean I don't know if it's necessarily healthy at all. Obviously, if I'm eating 6.6% of my calories from fat, that's really low, and it's probably not healthy. And like for someone that's trying to build muscle, eating more cholesterol would help. And like I average 330 milligrams a day, which is like the equivalent of an egg, I think, or maybe an egg and a half, and that's pretty low, especially if I'm trying to build muscle. But yeah, but then you look at fruitarians, the people that eat mostly fruit, and they're pretty healthy. There's a girl named Freely, the banana girl, and she eats a ton of.
It was funny to hear him mention Freely the Banana Girl, who now you can still find on YouTube as active today, 11 years later. Him saying, look at fruitarians, they're pretty healthy. I think the general view is that fruitarians are not healthy in the long term, actually. So I do get that he's like, is this healthy? I don't know, but I'm having these funny results. Like, maybe I shouldn't do this forever. One of the reasons why I've reached out to Max directly and I'm trying to get him on the Patchwork podcast, because it would be great to hear, where did he go in the 11 years after and what did he learn? I think on the whole, I would say I've never seen anybody in the sugar diet space or pro-metabolic space talk about keeping the fat rock bottom and the sugar really high forever, or even for a prolonged period of time. It is really like a phase you're going to go through. But then again, the guy is eating a lot of protein, which is pretty reasonable.
Of fruit, and she's very healthy. She posted a video on her channel about her blood test and whatever. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think eating in moderation is better than the stuff I do, but I can't do moderation. I'm insane. So anyway, that was my video.
Eating in moderation might be better than the stuff I do, but I can't eat in moderation because I'm insane. I think more people would identify with that than the other version. Everything in moderation is really like a marketing term. I've just never found that to live up to reality, especially once you start to get dysregulated systems in your body.
The moral of the story is I was eating like 2,500 calories a day. I got fat eating about 3,000 calories a day last year at this time, and today I can eat 3,500 calories. And I'm going to experiment with more after the summer ends, like over 4,000, and see without gaining body fat, and hopefully put on some muscle because I do plan on working out more. But maybe in the winter I'll start using weights for my upper body. Maybe I'll get huge or something. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it wasn't too boring, and maybe I'll make.
That's funny. On the Patchwork podcast, we interviewed a guy called Tyler Woodward, who hosts the daily recommended value podcast. You can find that on YouTube. And he has gotten his metabolism up to 4,000 calories a day. And it was pretty funny. Then he was like, okay, I actually want to go through a fat loss phase. And he did a really controlled let's call it cut or diet, but from 4,000 calories, where that's literally his maintenance level of food, to cut down to a place where he can lose considerable amounts of body fat is still at a food level way above what I can even eat today. So there's some really interesting and like good points in here. If you can get your metabolism that high, it puts you in such a better stead going forward. Hope you enjoyed this video, and make sure you click like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you can get notified for the next video. At Patchwork, we work with people to help them achieve metabolic excellence. Fundamentally, that's really taking a look at where you are and your diet history and how you're feeling, your symptoms, that kind of stuff. And then digging down into the root causes of what is blocking your metabolism such that you are gaining weight, or you are resistant to losing weight, or you are consistently regaining any weight that you've lost, right? Calorie counting doesn't work, fasting doesn't work, carnivore doesn't work anymore. Why? We do that a number of ways. We do it through genetic testing, we do it through organic acid testing, but newly released, we also do that through some AI coaching. So I want to give you a quick preview of our AI metabolic coach. If you head to coach.patchworkfood.com, this is available right now, live, free to use. Have at it. So I just tag my answers there together. Then going to ask me, do I want to do a deep dive or go quick? Let's go deep dive. It's going to ask me what my TDEE is. We just looked on screens. We think it's about 2150. I think I'm being a bit aggressive, but 2150. Lean body mass, I'm at 20%. Okay, so based on 20%, how much I'm doing there. Do I do any exercise? This is going to flag if I'm in a low energy availability state, which I definitely am. I've suppressed my metabolism so aggressively, and I think most people don't realize that you actually shouldn't just be able to infinitely restrict calories. The average man should be eating well over 3,000 calories a day. So I'll just do one last answer here. So it's guessing there that my metabolism is pulling out about 15.36 calories per pound of lean body mass. And that would put me in a low energy availability state. I will flag here, people are always like, oh, your metabolism's low, you need to gain muscle. If I gain muscle, that won't change the 15 calories per pound number, because that's changing the pound number and the calories number. Fundamentally, right, as an actual person, you should be able to pull more energy out of your body than I currently am. I'll pause right there, but if you get a chance, definitely take a look. I'm sure it will help a lot of people out.